It's official. The 2025 LDBC Meet and Greet in Las Vegas, Nevada, August 9th and 10th. Hosted by none other than 78 Sports TV, accompanied by many LDBC content creators you know and love. Come through and enjoy the LDBC Basketball Classic, where Team Voltron will take on LDBC Selects. Come on out and have a good time in a family atmosphere. Children are welcome. Get your tickets ASAP. Use code SHAWA to receive $5 off. See you there. Salute, salute, fam. I hope you guys can hear me. Give me a little wave or something in the chat and let me know you guys can hear me. We start out by saying salute to King DP Rocka. Joseph Townsend, salute. Kissy, kissy face. My big bro, Cono Loco, salute, salute. Mo Boxing, is good to have you in the house. Salute. How you doing? See, D Free. So glad you could make it. It's good to have you here. Joe Townsend, thank you. I'm glad y'all can hear me. Okay. What's going on, y'all? Okay. That's good. I'm glad y'all can hear me. So, I'm gonna try to do this little recap quickly because everybody done did it, and it's just my time of the week where I can do this. Hopefully everybody's having a good week so far. We're only 3 days in. Recapping some of these cards that we saw Saturday. Man, it was so much boxing that I almost got upset because it was 3 cards on at the same time, y'all. And I generally don't. I be having all kind of devices going and stuff. I was feeling some kind of way. I ain't even gonna lie. Okay. So the first card that I want to rehash real quick. Don't start that, Joe. Salute to you all. Ain't gonna have me typing all day. Okay, I know. We know how you get down, Kano. I'm gonna open up the live after this too, you guys. So, Kano, if you free, you already know what time it is. Everybody can click the link, unless you're a weirdo and I don't really know you. Then nah. Other than that, conversations. Okay, so start with the pro box. Martinez versus James. That Lester and Johan. That was a good fight. I thought maybe Johan would have been able to use his length to get Lester out of it, but man, it didn't work out in his favor, and he got rocked. It is what it is. I was gonna say it's sad to see, but it wasn't. That was a good fight. Shout out to Bomac and that whole camp. They had 2 other fighters on the card, Kelvin Davis and is it Charles Harris? I think his name is Charles Lolo Harris. Man, them 2 young dudes, prospects, very good fights. Kelvin was sharp. The Lolo dude, this is the first time I've seen him. If you guys have not seen the Kelvin Davis and the Charles Harris bout, go back and watch. And that Charles Harris, like I said, I ain't never seen him before. Apparently he's out of San Bernardino. That dude was crispy. His was sharp, short, crisp shots, doubling up on hooks. Man, I think I'm gonna be a fan of this little guy. Both of those guys obviously got the win. Again, I'm gonna try to run through these real quick. Like Amazon fights, I'll just talk about 2. The Terrell Gaucher and Elijah Garcia. I'm gonna call that a debacle. I really clearly feel like Terrell Gaucher schooled Elijah, and I like Elijah. I just feel like I don't know what the deal is with PBC. Um, Speed Demon, what's going on, King? It's good to see you. Thanks for coming in. I'm still getting over being sick, y'all, so bear with me. But yeah, Gaucher schooled Elijah. It's just crazy that these judges are getting away with the bull crap that they're getting away with, and there's no accountability. I did hear something during the telecast that makes me wonder if there is some type of agenda. Yes, I'm gonna put on my little conspiracy theorist hat. Um, they said that Elijah comes from a farming family. He's 21, and his family told him at 21, if you don't make your little way in boxing, you need to find a job, find a real job. And I don't know. Maybe they're aware of all that, and they want to keep him in this field. You know what I mean? Keep him under PBC. Just keep him fighting. I don't know what it was. I really feel bad for Terrell. Clearly, I feel like he won that fight. Sebastian Fundora and Cordell Booker. I had talked about this fight a few weeks ago, just the fact that it was happening. The fact that I felt like this is just a tune-up for Sebastian. I don't really feel like it was a viable fight. I mean, much respect to Cordell, but I said, dude's chin be open. He be open, and he got caught all kinds of different ways. I'm not really a fan of Sebastian, but I'm not a fan. Shout out to Sebastian. I do feel like he's a weight bully. I would like to see Sebastian at 168. Dude is mean though. Dude is mean, and he can't fight inside, outside. I did feel bad for Cordell, but I really don't think that's the fight he should have took. But I get it. These guys, it's boxing. Anything can happen any given night. Shout out to Cordell. Shout out to Sebastian. Next card, and there were actually 5 cards, you guys. 5 freaking cards. The next card was actually the first card. It came on at like 2:00 in the morning. I did do a video on this, so I'm really gonna run through this one. I think the best fight on that card, on the Kambosos Wiley card, it was this Imam Katayev and Perval Palacio. Man, that was a good fight. And this Imam, I had never seen him before. He's a prospect. He went in 9-0 with 9 knockouts. This was his first time he went the distance, and he won. But the Palacio dude was giving him everything he could handle. He did knock Palacio down in like the second round. It was a good fight, you guys. If you didn't see that fight, go back and check out this dude, Imam. He's a good fighter. The second one I'll talk about on that card was Cherninka Johnson. Cherninka Johnson versus Nina Hughes. This was a rematch. And the first time Shanika beat Nina, I felt like it was clear she beat that girl. Here we go again. She beat that girl. I didn't like the actual fight. It looked a little messy. A lot of holding and grabbing on behalf of Nina. I do believe she got headbutt and she was bleeding. They ended up throwing in the towel. I believe it was like the 7th round on her. They should have. Shanika just beat her again. Like she was getting them jabs off in her face. It was nice to some degree for what it's worth. Shanika walked away with the win again. And I heard the commentators talking about after that match that it's a possibility that she's either going to fight Dina Thorson next or Sharetta Metcalf, y'all. And I would love to see that. Sharetta, much like the next fight I'm going to talk about, is somebody who was not getting heard, not being seen, not getting her chance to get up in this game and get with these women. just like Tiara Brown. Tiara Brown fought Sky Nicholson. Um, to me, this was the main match because I really had no interest whatsoever in Kambosos versus Wiley. I did watch it. Shout out to Kambosos. I can't disrespect that man. He's done what he's done in boxing. He's been a multiple a unified champ. I ain't gonna go there, but the main fight for me was Sky versus Tiara. Hold on, I see some comments coming through here. Coach 67, bless his family. How you doing? It's good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Um, Tiara Brown finally got her shot. Finally got her shot at Sky. She's been calling this woman out. Um, I'm not gonna lie, I was not totally impressed with her last fight on the OTX, but I did feel like she could beat Sky. And everybody knows Sky got this beautiful jab. Sky generally is gonna fight on that back foot, just jabbing you to death. And she's winning like that. I'm not crazy about Sky. I don't take away from these fighters and their skills, but I'm not a fan of Sky. And I felt like if Tiara could just get to the inside, get inside and tear her up, then she could win this. And that is exactly what she did. It must have been around round 4. Sky stopped backing so much. She started holding a little and trying to sit in the pocket and fight. It just didn't turn out in her favor because it ended up that she continued to hold. And in her doing so, in her not fighting the fight that she usually fights on the back foot, keeping at a distance with that jab, she allowed Tiara to get in there and do work. And shout out to Tiara. Kudos to her. I do have pictures, obviously. I be talking so dang much sometimes I be forgetting. Yeah, I think Sky was a little pissed off. She questioned the win. You can see it all up in her face. I do not. I have no interest whatsoever in seeing a rematch for this. I mean, actually, okay, I'll watch it, but the reality is, I guess I don't feel like it because yeah, you was being a sucker. You was acting like you was upset, but you did get beat. But your little boyfriend was sitting right there on the side of the ring. Again, I feel like that's a little bit of a conflict of interest. Eddie needs to fall back. We all already know what time it is with the two of them. So, in his little mouth, your girl got beat, Eddie. She got beat down. Salute, J. Will. Thanks for coming in, King. Peace and blessings to you. So yeah, those were the fights. There was also an OTX card, as well as a card that went down in Puerto Rico that my brother Kano and TD sent me a link to it too. And I watched some of that. I didn't get to watch all of it, you guys. It was just so freaking much boxing. I'm not complaining, but I was upset. You had all some of these cards on like 3 at the same time. I can't score fights like that, and I ain't got all the time in the world to go back and watch, because I'll be wanting to watch all the fights on the card, right? So, upcoming fights here we have coming up here soon this weekend. First, and I really wanted to make it to this, just couldn't make it. Mayor versus Ryan 2. This first fight that they had, I don't know if you all watched it and seen all the little crap that went on behind it. Paint was thrown before the fight onto Sandy Ryan, and she went in there obviously pissed off. Do I feel like her emotions maybe got the best of her in that fight? Absolutely not. Because in the end, man, Sandy Ryan, and I'm not a fan of Sandy. I can just keep talking about who I ain't a fan of. I don't dislike Sandy, but after the whole Alicia Baumgartner, yeah, I'm rocking with Alicia. But Sandy Ryan, She made it so simple too. It was just, I mean, not Sandy Ryan, Michaela Bear. She made that fight so simple, y'all. A jab and step it to her right. That whole fight, and I mean, and it was a masterful what she did. She threw hooks, but it was just the jab. She worked behind the jab, the ones and the twos, but it was just so simple. And Sandy, it never occurred to her or her corner to just step right and cut this chick off. It was just, it was crazy. I am looking forward to seeing how this plays out the second time because Sandy Ryan can fight and she was getting her licks in, but man, Michaela just, she made her look silly. She made her look simple, especially the mechanics of the fight. There ain't no way in the world that woman could just work a jab and step to the right on you the whole night, step out from your power hand and you never figure that out. That stuff be problematic to be. Salute, yes. How you doing, beloved? Thanks for coming in. It's good to see. Let me see. I got some commentation going on here. Do you foresee any of them switching things up, or will it be a continuation of the first fight? I definitely think there will be a switch. Obviously, the adjustment is going to have to be on Sandy Ryan's part because technically, let's just say Michaela Mayer could go in there and do the same thing as her plan A. And should Sandy Ryan actually figure out to adjust or come with a different strategy, then Michaela Mayer would have to come with her plan B. But in the meantime, I do. Again, Sandy Ryan is a good fighter. I don't know what's going on with these coaches and these fighters sometimes, especially the fighter. And I don't know if Sandy has a amateur background or not. But especially when fighters have like an amateur background and they see so many different styles, and they've been boxing for so many years, I personally expect them to be able to adjust on the fly. Now, I mean, you're gonna see patterns within fighting that person. So are you gonna adjust it? And then again, you have coaches and trainers. They're your eyes on the outside of the ring. Why are you not? Sometimes you have it where the trainers are telling people what they need to do, and the fighter just does not go in there and execute. But that's kind of rare. I mean, it's kind of rare. Usually these fighters will go in there and they'll attempt to execute what their trainers telling them they see how to adjust. But I don't know. I don't know, Jay Will. I hope she does. I do. I think it's going to be a very good fight. I'm looking forward to it. Speed Demon. I have to get going. Oh, all right. Thanks for coming in. I'm sure he's gone now. It took me a while to get to that. The next fight that's also coming up. Haha. Yeah. Zepeda versus Farmer 2. And this is going to happen in somewhere in Mexico. Let me see here. Tevin Farmer. Now that first fight, I don't know. I don't know what the deal was with Zepeda. Really don't care. Obviously, I was pulling for Tevin. And let's see, this fight is happening in Cancun. So in that first fight, Zepeda went down in round 4. Tevin scored a knockdown. One thing I noticed about that fight, back knee was missing. Zepeda comes in every fight with this back knee, and he is got 27 knockouts in 32 fights, right? And when you go and look through his resume, it ain't all. You know what I mean? It's a bunch of Hispanic fighters and stuff. Tevin Farmer actually had an addition to his corner, somebody who I like, Mustafa, and Coach Mustafa. And I feel like that may have made the difference. So I'm hoping that he's going to be in this corner again this fight. Tevin Farmer is, again, he's just one of these guys that like like a Terrell Goucher. Like they play these guys kind of foul to me. Because I mean, some people feel like Tevin didn't do enough in that fight. I feel like he could have edged it out, including the knockdown. Um, it's gonna be in Cancun. Eh, I just don't know. I don't have a good feeling. I think we will see Bagney again. Um, hopefully, I don't see anybody on this undercard either that we recognize right off. Except for, well, Yocasta Vale is going to be on there and Oscar Collazo. This is going to be an Oscar De La Hoya fight, Golden Boy fight. I just don't have a good feeling for Tevin. I really don't. Hey, GD, how you doing? It's good to see you. Thanks for coming in. I'm glad you made it. Powerhouse Watson. Shalom, great brother. Shalom, Aki. Um, Tay Tay. Hey. Hey, Jim. How you doing, beautiful? Thanks for coming in. So yeah, I don't have a feeling. I don't have a good feeling for Tevin Farmer. But we were just gonna have to see how that plays out. I forgot to say was on that undercard. If you know me, you know I am a huge Brian Norman Jr. fan. He's gonna be fighting Derek Cuevas. Um, both of these fights, Brian Norman Jr. and Derek Cuevas and Sandy Ryan and Michaela Mayer, they're both gonna be for the I think it's the WBO World Welter, men's and women's welter. So there are titles on the line. Obviously, this is going to be a title defense for Brian that, and people are questioning. He had that fight with Santillan, all the whole fallout of him and Boots and that fight not coming to fruition. Me personally, and I'll get back to this. Me personally, with Brian Norman, I did not want to see him fight Boots off top. I wanted to see Brian versus Stanionis or Barrios or Ennis versus Barrios or Stanionis, which we know we're getting Stanionis versus Ennis. But I wanted Brian because I do believe Boots and Brian come out on top of those fights. I wanted it to be for all the hardware. So maybe both of them have 2 titles apiece. I want that to be a big fight for both of them. I like Boots as well. I'm a Brian Norman Jr. I'm a fangirl. I ain't a fangirl. I ain't nobody's fangirl. But I am. I support that dude. I think he's a very good individual and he's a good fighter. And I think he is underrated. He's underrated. The dude has power. And he just has some more things as well that we're gonna see come up. Yes, we know he got knocked down by Boca Chica, and everybody loves to go to that. And he's had a couple of hard fights, mechanics wise, before that. Even with Quentin Randall, I think that was just a bad style matchup myself. So I'm a Brian Norman Jr. girl. I'm rocking. Also on that card will be Bruce Carrington, Emiliano Fernando. I like Emiliano. He's a very nice kid. I met him. Tiger Johnson, who did not get to fight in his last fight. They pulled him off that card. So we're gonna get a shot at seeing him again. Let me see. Thanks for stopping by, Tay Tay. I appreciate you. I forgot Norman was fighting this weekend. Yeah, hopefully Norman can get the Barrios fight next. I would hope so too, GD. Um, I just don't think so. You know, it's something, and I'll get into that as far as the news goes. It's something about, I'm gonna just say it. It's my damn channel about these black fighters, American. They ain't trying to see these guys. They're not really trying to give them a way, in my personal opinion. There are so many guys out here, and they're high up in the rankings. This is what drives me a little crazy, and they're not getting the fights and the shots that I feel like they should be getting. Um, yeah, uh, I just had a brain fart. So it looks like Kevin Newman, because he's one of those fighters. Yeah, he's milking that belt, and I don't want to say he was exposed his last couple of fights, but he didn't look good, right? So and then when I think about Brian being with Bob, and I really feel like they a lot of these times they try to set these black fighters up, you know, because they thought Santillan was going to be a setup. Now, obviously, Santillan had the title, but it's just like there's a yeah, it's like they try to expose these guys. That's why I be wishing the best for our men here in America, the black fighters, because it's like nobody's for them. You know, they have a little fanfare with us, but as a whole, Americans don't support our American fighters. Even when it comes down to a black fighter, Hispanic fighter, we already know what time it is, right? Um, so anyway, yes, Kevin Newman. Apparently, I guess just a couple of Devin's guys have some fights coming up this weekend as well. They will not be televised though. I don't really care for that so much. I would hope that they would be. But yeah, Kevin Newman, he has a fight coming up in Louisiana against someone named Ryan Adams. And another gentleman who fights for DHP is Shamar Canal. They're gonna both be on this card. Maybe there will be a way. If there is if it's on Boxer or Triller, and I find out, I will post it on my community tab. Post whatever they call that crap now. It'll be there. I'll let you guys know for sure. Um, what's going on to my brother? How you doing, Trilla? How you doing? Tell my sister I said, "Hey, boo boo, I'm seeing her working. I'm hearing the music and I love it. So please let her know." So yeah, we're gonna see what happens now. As far as other news, apparently the WBO ended up mandating that a fight between Fundora and Xander Zayas. Um, I'm not excited to see that, you guys. Um, I I think there's some better fights for Fundora to have. I and also there's somebody because I was just talking about these black fighters not getting the shots that they deserve. Thank you, King. Thank you, bro. I appreciate you. Hug her neck for me too. So yeah, apparently in those rankings, right? Um, the person who should have been up next to fight Fundora is Charles Conwell. Um, they slid Zayas up above Conwell, and again, these are things that are just kind of they're pissing me off, to be frank. Um, let me see if I can share my screen here so I could let you guys see this because it's quite upsetting. Hey KG, how you doing, fam? Thanks for coming in. It's good to see you. Let me see. Hey, the Dirt Gang boss. How you doing, King DGB? Let me share this screen. Let me share this screen with you guys. Uh, cause yeah, these rankings, I'm mm, not happy at all about this. So where are we at here? Where they slid this dude in. Xander Zayas. Okay, right here. WBO. Slid him over Charles Conwell. And where is he over here? Because he's on the IBF too, I believe. He's 14, and I want to say a couple of weeks ago he was at 13 for IBF. That's Mert Sataliev, right? I know that he said he'd be willing to fight Mert Sataliev. They got Lubin up here, and I'm not a fan of Lubin. Again, Lubin to me would be like a Gaucher, like a he's here and he's there, but they ain't trying to see these black men winning like that. Here we go, WBC. Sebastian obviously has that belt as well. Virgil has the interim. Boachuk right under, which we saw this fight. I still believe Boachuk won that fight. Here we go. We done slid Xander in at number 2, Charles Conwell number 3. Yeah, I'm just he's not even in the WBA rankings. I'm not happy about that. And my brother didn't tell me that I have the ability to talk about who is going to be fighting, but Charles Conwell does have a fight coming up. I'm not going to say who his opponent is again because my brother didn't tell me I could say it, but he has a fight coming up April 19th. I don't like Oscar. I've said this before. I do not like Oscar. We saw Charles Conwell call out Ortiz. They're in the same promotion company. Like, make that freaking fight happen. It just frustrates me to no end. It pisses me off a lot a bit. I ain't gonna say a little bit. It pisses me off a lot a bit. Anyway, as far the WBO, it mandated the Fundora versus Zayas fight. They have 20 days to negotiate before it goes to a purse bid. I'm sure we all know Fundora's promoter is Samson Lukowitz. Now Samson, he don't even want this fight. He wants obviously to unify. He wants to fight with Murtataliev. I would like that. I would like Fundora versus Murtataliev. I would like that. Again, I feel like Fundora is a weight bully. A lot of people don't agree with that. That's fine. This is my own personal feelings. There's some weight bullies in these classes, these big tall dudes. You're a walking skeleton basically fighting. And again, the dude can fight. I respect him as a fighter. I actually like to watch Fundora fight. But I don't know. I feel like he needs to be at 168, you guys. And but with that being said, Murtataliev and Fundora, to me, that would be the better fight than Zayas, he's still, I'm gonna say what Samson said. He's too green. He's too green. Yeah, anything can happen. We all know that. Blah blah blah. How you doing, Karma? How you doing, Queen? Thanks for coming in. I appreciate you. Stormy B Man, my sensei. How you doing? Thanks for coming through, beloved. I appreciate you. So yeah, I would prefer to see that. I did a video on Murtataliev, like kind of breaking down his style. To be honest, I think Fundora could probably get at him because it seemed like was people really apply pressure on Bakram. Yeah, get him on that back foot. you can get in his grill. You can win that fight. We already know what Fendora's working with. Inside game, outside game. And he got crazy leverage on them long on them long limbs. I would love to see it. I would love to see that fight over Xander Zayas. Um, Here, I have just put the link in the chat. Anybody want to come up and talk about some of these fights? I still got some more news, but it's nothing imperative. Yeah, lots of fights coming up, especially April 5th. It seems like there's going to be a lot of fights going on as well. There was also some other news. Hold on, I got a little screenshot for. So I talked about this in a my last video, I believe. Um, Broadway Joel, shout out to him. He's a Dominican content creator, and he did an interview with Mr. Edwin de los Santos, and there was a lot of there was okay. First off, there was some insinuation that apparently Edwin and Shakur have made kind of fast friends. They've made friends. Obviously, we know about Shakur making friends. We know what happens when you make friends with Shakur. He ain't trying to see you no more, right? So we are likely not going to get that rematch between the two. But interestingly enough, Shakur wants to be Edwin's manager. And from what was being said, Edwin is not opposed to it. He actually looked a little excited about the prospect of it. And he wants to make a fight with Edwin and forgive me, I'm having Keyshawn Davis. I like that fight. I also like a Keyshawn because we also have another new guy at 35, basically, right? With Lamont Roach. I like that fight as well. But if Shakur is gonna be this gentleman's manager, if he'll take him on, that's something I'd totally be interested in seeing Keyshawn. Let me see. My sister's saying here. Thank goodness I don't want to see that happen again. Man, look, I don't either. But they need to. They need to make that happen. They need to make that right. Look, I paid some money to get to that thing and they pissed me off. I had such a bad weekend, y'all. Exactly. Exactly, GD. We're adopting brothers. I was about to start singing We're Brothers. We're happy and we're singing. Shut up, Tim. Me too, Queen. It's a unification. You're talking about Mercer Taliev and Fandora. Wanna see it. Better fight by far to me than Zaire Zandez. Thank you. Thank you, OG. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Here goes my big sis right here, y'all. Hey, Shaquila, how you doing? How you doing, big sis? Thanks for coming through. I appreciate you. So, yeah, more news. I don't really care about Caleb Plant. I mean, I do. I like Caleb, y'all, but here's a little interesting story, which made me chuckle a little bit. So, Eddie Hearn says that AJ can fight anyone that he wants to here. Promoter Eddie Hearn isn't mincing words about Anthony Joshua's right to contest for a heavyweight world title, regardless of his recent fifth-round knockout loss to Daniel Dubois. Hearn stresses that Joshua's star power grants him freedom to choose his next foe without needing to rebuild. If you are the biggest commercial draw in the division, Hearn says, you can fight whoever you want, anytime you want. Many people, however, argue that Joshua's recent slide undermines his standing, and I believe so as well. Um, they also point out that his two title reigns hinged on victories over unimposing opposition like a sluggish Andy Ruiz Jr. and a relatively untested Charles Martin. Still, Hearn says none of that prevents a top tier payday or a quick jump into another championship shot. It's uncertain whether Joshua 35 will challenge current champions again anytime soon, especially given his two defeats to Alexander Usyk and the fact that Dubois recently demolished him. But for Hearn, there's no doubt AJ remains a marketable name that he insists is enough to justify any fight Joshua wants, even if the usual rules don't seem to apply. Look, yeah, Joshua can fight, but does he deserve a shot with anybody? Even a title shot at this point? Nah. Nah. There's a lot of conversation as well going on about whether or not Usyk will fight Daniel Dubois or whether he'll fight Joseph Parker, right? And I personally feel like I want to see the Dubois rematch first. That is what I want. I believe that Dubois was robbed and that he deserves that fight. Joseph Parker been waiting around, man. And, oddly enough, when he decides he wants to all of a sudden get active and go for these titles that he should just be given. Hello.
Hey, can you hear me?
You live. Yeah, I can hear you. Salute.
Yeah, I I don't have my avatar set up on this, but
That's fine.
I'm in the I'm in the working space right now, so I really not supposed to be on, but I'm on with you, show you some support.
Okay. I know you got something to say about this one because you're one of the ones that don't think Parker deserves either.
What was that again? I'm sorry.
I said you're one of the ones who does not believe Parker deserves either.
Oh
Uh,
no, I don't feel that Parker deserves a world title shot at this time, especially not on the merits of what he's trying to sell the people on. He had a rematch clause with Zili Zhang and he didn't follow through on it. He allowed the time to lapse so that the clause would it'd be null and void. And
mm,
Zhang kept asking him, "Are we going to do it again? Are we going to do it again?" And Parker played the crowd. He played the public as if, "Oh, I'll fight anybody. I'll fight anybody." But he was obligated to fight Zhang again in a rematch, and he totally left that in the dust. So, how you guys feel about that?
like I said, for one, I already feel like yeah, Dubois should be up next because one, he spoke with Usyk after that Fury fight, and Usyk said that yes, he'll fight him next. So one, my thing is always if somebody gives their word, I think that should be it. Again, we know how these sanctioning bodies get down; they'll try to intervene, and I think that actually did happen here. I was looking for that story, but I believe you also said something to the effect of when AJ was on his little title run, Parker didn't want to step up and try to fight AJ and basically, you know, stop his shine, so to speak. But now,
Yeah, he was too busy being rear end buddies with AJ and Fury and all of that foolishness. This is another reason why I say he doesn't deserve that. Because if you want to equip yourself to be considered amongst the best, you have to face these guys,
yep,
not befriend them. You just were saying a moment ago about Shakur ensuring that he's more friends than foe with De Los Santos, so he don't have to see him again. You see, all of this stuff, these guys are getting ready to go by the wayside. Boxing is taking a turn for the better when it comes down to those specifics, but it's going to take a little time. But people will see. and you're going to find out who the real ones are and who have always been the pretenders from go.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I guess my only issue with what we're gonna see, because I'm gonna assume you're talking about the TKO. um,
Well, not just that, not
no,
just that,
just in general.
because
Okay.
yeah, in general, because it doesn't take much for people to get on board when they really see that something is operating in their personal best interest.
Mm,
Boxing has not worked in the best interest for the individual for quite a while. So, as with everything else in life, the wheel does turn. We're in that period now where we're going to go through a renaissance of change. And change makes a lot of people uncomfortable, especially when they've benefited off of what has been present.
mm.
And it may upset the cart of what will happen in the future. But we will see these things take place. And then that's when things will begin to shake out, and the people will be able to see for themselves exactly what's happening.
Right. Okay. And then you saying that, it kind of goes into what I was talking about a little bit earlier. What we still are likely to see over here on this side of the pond is still going to be some of that BS going on. I was talking about how some of these guys still, and they, they're higher in the rankings, but people are getting slipped above them, and they're just getting overlooked, and
Hmm.
and maybe they're even getting fights, but they're not getting fights that are, they're just keeping them busy. And then of course it's the black men over here that they
Right.
are just, yeah.
Well,
Charlie Charlo,
like,
yeah,
haven't you heard this news about Charlo saying he wants back in and he wants his belts back and all of that kind of stuff? You know what it is time is passing him by.
mm,
See, he didn't think that people would forget about him and move on to the next thing, if even move on away from boxing. But that's what happens. Haven't I always said that?
yeah,
So he's getting ready to experience it, which is a great thing because there are plenty of guys who ready to step in and fill that void.
that's right.
You see,
There are
plenty.
a lot of guys at man, and especially at that division, which to
Hmm.
me is the better of, yeah, 40 is good. 35 has the ability to heat back up with people moving up and moving around. 54 is it. And Mel has been saying for a while, when people keep saying, "Oh, I thought he said he was coming back." Oh, I thought he said, ain't nobody got time to be waiting, especially the way you went out. And I don't know
Hmm.
how he would think anybody would not forget him, because the last thing we remember is you bending the knee to freaking Canelo. If you was gonna come back and get your, I don't know. I don't know what he's waiting on. I'm not really I'm not really concerned, I guess I should say, about Mel. If he comes back, it's good. It'll be another good fighter in the mix. Because I think if he did come back, I don't obviously, I don't think he's gonna be bending the knee to none of these guys. But like nobody's holding their breath waiting.
Well, he's looking also for an opportunity of where he can fit in without the threat. Understand that had he taken the proper fights that he was supposed to, he
Mm,
could be now resting on laurels, if not fighting a rematch with someone out of three guys he could have faced and been well within his own place, legacy wise and financial. But he
right.
gave it all up to chase that stupid bag that he went after with Canelo, and he lost everything. That's why I don't have any respect for him, because as I spoke about time and again, a lot of the people of today don't know what's best for them because they've operated under influences. Okay. And influences have agendas, you know,
Right.
especially when they're external and they have nothing to do with you, but you are a part of that process. Too dumb to figure that out and too arrogant and ignorant to accept the fact to learn about it, you see. And that's the thing that he's going to have a problem with, because he doesn't understand that. He doesn't even understand why he is not being looked at right now. But how many guys can you name at 154 that are like you're jumping at the bit to see, their next outing and see them against one another and things like
Whole
that.
bunch.
You
Whole
see
bunch.
what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
so many fights that can be made right now at 154 is ridiculous. But the biggest fight he could have made was he and Terrence Crawford coming together as two undisputed champions fighting for a legacy all their own. The money would have been all their own. The outcome would have been all their own. And guess who would not have been a part of that? Canelo. You see
Right.
how he gave it up? And now he has nothing. And he has only the history of where he went and over that cliff. And he gave it up. So, rightfully so, he should feel exactly like he feels. But I want the public to understand this. He should be made to feel that because he didn't have the best of intent for himself or the sport that he participates in. And then when we say it like that, we're talking about he wasn't interested in giving you what you would like to see,
No, not
a
in that.
ticket that you would like to buy, a
Not in that.
fight you would love to tune into and support. He wasn't interested in doing that.
Yeah, not in that case because it was selfish. He went for the Canelo fight for the bag. Obviously, um, he wasn't
Mhm.
concerned. I said he went for the Canelo fight. Obviously, he went for the bag, so he was not concerned about what people want to see.
Right.
It
So
was a
why should anybody be interested in seeing him?
like I said, if he comes back, more power to him. I'm gonna watch it, but I'm not waiting with bated breath for Jamel to make. I mean, and the of the two, I like Jamal more, and I'm not waiting with bated breath to see him either. I wish them both the best, but it's so much stuff over, so much other things that are going on, like you said, that I'm not concerned. That's not my priority. You know what I mean? But now that we're talking about 154, then what do you think about that? The Mercitalia versus Fundora versus a Fundora versus Zayas. Do you have a preference in what you would like to see out of the two? Stormy?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I had muted my mic. I'm trying to because I got my tablet on too, and I wasn't trying to give you feedback over here.
Oh, that,
Um, personally, I think that Murtazaliev is deserving of an opportunity simply because he's a man that can get in there and give you the excitement that you look for in boxing.
mm-hmm.
There's a lot of these guys, like I said, they are pretenders, but some
Uh-oh.
of them, some of them they'll try, but he's one that remember Tim Tszyu was in the same spot a couple of years back when he was trying to go after Charlo.
Yeah.
And Charlo wasn't looking at him for whatever reason. He wasn't looking at him. He wasn't acknowledging him.
Yep.
And it became a situation where it was bad for Charlo. And then Tim Tszyu took that spot. Well, Murtazaliev, he's in the same situation now where he's looking for someone to uh, look at him. And, you know, it, there are going to be guys he's going to wash basically because they're not real. And then there are others that it would definitely be competitive.
Mm.
Is he the man that's going to be the last man standing? I don't necessarily think so, but I would love to see the challenges because he's going to challenge something about some of these guys that it hasn't been done yet. And don't forget Erickson Lubin.
Yeah.
Erickson Lubin is a fighter who had always been looked at with a great upside. He went into that Charlo fight a little green, a little too soon, maybe a fight or two too soon, and
Mm-hmm.
he was embarrassed. But even in being embarrassed, he has come back. And then he had the Fundura fight, which taught him a different type of a lesson, which is why he was able to come back and teach Jesus Ramos a lesson. You understand? This is how it works when you're fighting quality amongst quality. When you're fighting these angle fights where they select guys for you to look good against and everything, and then you're being sold as the champion of the world, and you're going out there and beating these guys that on paper who really shouldn't be able to deal with you at all, you know? And that's what you're seeing.
Okay, so I talked about Erickson a little bit earlier, and I kind of put him in this category of fighters, like kind of like what we saw with Terrell Gaucher, and it was someone else I mentioned because he has a fight coming up here. Erickson Lubin does,
Mhm.
but I don't think that they really want to see that man win. Obviously, I don't. I think Erickson Lubin is a good fighter still, and I also think that because a lot of that whole fight with Ramos, there was a lot of contention behind it. I feel like it was legit. I was even pulling for Ramos, but I was like, nah, Erickson Lubin beat that boy. But I just feel like again he's one of these black fighters. Oh, it was Charles Conwell as well. These guys are either not getting fights or they're just getting these run of the mill fights. No true title contention. Erickson Lubin is number 3 in the IBF. There's nobody ahead of him. So why aren't they making a fight for him and Mersataliev? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that one of the reasons why, to answer that question, is because a lot of the fighters turn down matches. See, that's one of the things. And if you listen to certain promoters and they will tell you that from time to time who's doing those things.
Mm,
But they do keep the heat off of the fighter at the same time because that's who they promote. And they don't necessarily want to turn it into a thing where you turn down more fights than bed sheets. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's like it's happening. That's just like Tiafimo. Tiafimo has turned down so many opportunities,
yeah.
and behind the scenes, everybody knows it.
Mm-hmm.
But as I've talked about with my brother Drew Titan, uh, publicly, the sport of boxing is a brotherhood, and the brotherhoods ain't not necessarily gonna tell the truth on themselves. You understand?
Of course
But the
not.
real ones will stand out because they're giving you something to really hold fast to. You're looking at it like, you know what? These guys, you can tell the real ones who don't mind is stepping forward and taking the challenge. That doesn't mean they have to fight tough fight after tough fight after tough fight, but to get in a position to take a fight where they know that this is going to advance my career. I beat this guy, people are going to have eyes on me. And a lot of guys don't want to be that fish caught on the hook. You understand? That
Right.
Tank didn't want to be that fish caught on the hook, but he ended up being one anyway. Because what he didn't realize was there's a hook, but he's a fish. You understand? And it
Yeah.
caught his ass. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep.
And so now he's in a world of trouble because he was trying to skate through on thin ice, saying one thing, doing another, and everything, and he got cornered
Mm.
by someone who asked questions of him that never had been asked
Yes,
before.
that's right.
And he didn't have no answers, and there was no Ellerby or Mayweather around to talk that talk for him because he had already put himself out there. When you put yourself out there, guess what ass gonna get nibbled on? That
Yours.
his, right? And that's
Yours.
what happened.
Yeah, you got to
You
answer
see?
for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally get it. Oh, karma. Yes, I do recall this. I'm glad you said this because I did forget, which I think is a little pompous of Mersataliev. Considering this is, I believe this is his first title, right? First time being a title holder, and he ain't going. Okay. I mean, again, the Fundora fight versus Mersataliev, that's right up. my alley. I'm sure everybody likes that as well. So I just think that's a little pompous for him to get his first little title and come out and say that. Um, Kudos to him though if he can swing it. Not everybody clearly is able to do this.
Well, if Murtazaliev ended up with more titles, what would end up happening is he'd be in a situation similar to Artur Beterbiev. You
Mm,
see a big Russian guy that, can hurt people and everything, but not a lot of people know him. It's not an easy guy to market. And, it's a dangerous fight for anybody to step up and take.
mm.
So that's how you have to look at it. It's a bad business deal for anybody to face that guy, but somebody's going to have to face him. And, it may not be for multiple titles, but it'll be for positioning. And this is where guys who work and hone at their craft, they shouldn't be afraid of that because danger is part of the territory.
Well,
But
see,
if you've been dining on a lot of cupcakes, you end up with a lot of fat. Huh? Yeah.
here's the thing. Um, yes, yes, is extremely pompous. I don't know who the heck he think he is, but here's the thing. Conwell said he would take that fight, but Conwell does not obviously have a title. So you are willing to fight somebody else for a title, but then you got guys out here who are hungry, who are willing to fight anybody. I mean, I
Hmm.
I, I did hear something about Conwell had been turning down fights. I did hear that. I don't know how true it is. Salute to my brother Michael Ray the second and Mark Hatch. Thanks for coming in. Salute to you. So I don't know. I kind of feel a little bit. I feel a way about that. I would like that unification though with Sebastian and him. It's also someone else. Yeah, the Xander Zayas. I could pass on that. I don't ever have to see that. I would take Boachuk with Fundora as well. I would like that fight because he's number one in WBC. To be next up. So, but as
Well,
far as
the
go
good
ahead.
thing about someone like Xander is this: he's young and talented enough and brazen enough to take risks that some of the other guys won't take. And the thing about it is, if he were to do so, he may have success or he may falter. But it's nice to have someone who's willing to do so. Um, Personally, I would like to see him face Fundora
Mm,
because I think he has athleticism enough to take risk and challenge that some of the other guys may not have the talent and ability to do so. And he's undefeated.
yeah,
And youth is something else because sometimes when a guy is youthful like him and hasn't met defeat yet or whatever, they're fearless and they will take risks. So that's something to consider. That's not me even saying, oh, I think he's gonna beat him. No, that's me assessing it as it would be a good look for someone that Fundora may not have certain advantages against. You can't do anything about his height and his reach, but you
you
can do a whole lot against his character and his desire and his will. Remember, he's been knocked out once already.
Oh yeah, I loved it, Mendoza.
That and you could make him revisit everything that's bad about that. You can make him revisit everything that was bad about the Tim Zoo fight before the cut happened.
Yeah,
But
because I
again,
did feel like
uh,
he was winning.
with proper preparation and everything, this is what you would focus on putting a young, youthful guy in, like a Xander, against him. Xander is young enough and he can give you the impression that, like he's not necessarily ready. But this is the kind of situation that would be a benefit for him. There are veteran fighters that you may not want to put him in against right now because of their experience and their ability to maybe set traps for him and stuff like that.
Hmm.
because being youthful, he can fall into something. But against a guy like Fondura, think of it like this: if Fondura was 5'10" or 5'11", how much advantage would he have over all the rest of the 154 pounders? Not
Yeah,
much of it at all.
I
He's
don't think.
blind as a bat, by the way. I want you
Oh
to know.
yeah, I've been saying that for years. Him and
He's
Gabby,
blind as a bat.
him and Gabby, which is
Yeah.
why I believe he used to always fight inside, which everybody thought was awkward because he's so long and he fights very well though on the inside.
Hmm.
But I don't know, Stormy. I mean, I totally understand what you're saying about, yeah. If we shrunk down to Fundora and then we pit him against these other guys, yeah, they would
No,
probably
that's not going to happen. But I was giving you an analogy of the fact that what his advantage is. His advantage is his height and reach, not his boxing ability, not his ability to fight, not his courage, not his strength, not his power. It's his height and his reach.
yeah,
That's the only advantage he has.
I
A
agree.
good a good trainer and a properly prepared fighter can eliminate those strengths of him because they're so prominent. They're obvious. He has no intangibles.
I agree with that. I agree
He's
with
straight up down meat and potatoes. That's what he is. And when you have a fighter like that, you're supposed to have a trainer that knows how to devise a plan to exploit his weaknesses. I know
that.
what they are, and I know how to do it, but it's like,
Yeah, I
this is what it is.
I just don't see. I don't see Xander being that guy. I mean, but you know
Why
what?
not?
We haven't seen him in that situation, so I can't say that. You're right.
But,
I
but, but,
can't
but
say that.
why not? I mean, I don't know a lot about who's training Xander right now because I haven't even focused on that.
I know.
But but you, I have to refer back to this. You already saw Brian Mendoza knock the guy out.
Brian is still more. That I would consider Brian a well seasoned fighter, though. Stormy Xander's not seasoned. He's just out of prospect into what did he? Oh, he's interim now, right? He's an interim on some one
He
of the.
got two fists, don't he?
Yeah, that's what
He's young and he's spry, isn't he?
I say. Okay.
He's
Yeah,
courageous, isn't he? He's ready to prove himself, isn't he? And from what we can see, he can crack too, right?
yeah. Okay.
Come on, Shawa.
You know
We're
why?
having a conversation here.
No, yeah, because I'm thinking of his fight just he had with Slawa, and I was like, okay, people have off nights, and he actually, yeah, he beat Slawa and he got him out of there, but I didn't think he looked good, Stormy. That's just my personal opinion. But he is willing. He is, you know, I ain't gonna take that away from him.
How
Like I said,
many times have you seen a fighter look good in one fight and bad in another? How many times you
all the
seen him
time,
look bad in one fight and good
all
in
the
another?
time, all the time.
Okay, so what are you talking about? Why are you binding yourself with
I guess I don't want to see
what's
that fight. I don't want to see that fight. I don't
you
want to
don't
see.
want to see the fight? Well, why don't you just say that? I don't want to see that
I
fight
did though. I
instead
did
of
say
trying
that
to.
earlier.
No, no, no. Listen, let me finish.
Okay.
Instead of trying to say, you know, what's uncomfortable to you.
Or
You know
taking
what I'm
away
saying?
from you. Right.
It's like listen, these are fighters. If he don't lose to this one, he'll lose to another one. It happens.
You're right.
That's why I'm able to see these things for what they truly are. It's like I don't get hung up on that stuff.
I know you don't.
But when it comes down to the measure of an individual
Mm.
character, it's always going to be rooted in that. Remember that. As far as I know, Kano's in the chat. I don't know about Xander's character outside the ring. I don't know anything about him in that regard. I know the Fonduras have a fighting family, but
Yes.
everything that they know is just pretty much from their dad.
No,
As
their
far
mom
as I,
too.
from,
Mom was a
from
fighter.
well, mom too, but as far as
Yeah.
I know, they haven't had other people in to bring in some other aspects and philosophy of the sport.
Right.
So it may be very limited what they have to offer. You fighting in a in a international sport, and there are people from walks of life that you ain't even heard of that could
That's
come
true.
out of the woodwork and give you a hiding simply because you've been existing within a small specter.
Okay, let me read this here what KG saying. KG says Xander hasn't got his man strength yet. That's my only downside to him beating Fundora right now. He has the skill set to win, but he won't be able to keep he won't be able to keep Fundora off of him. He won't. I don't believe so. Because you say he has the skill set. I don't know that he has that skill set. That's a skill set, ain't it, to keep somebody off of you?
Well, because he's young and spry like he is, one of his advantages is his footwork, being able to move and being quick and things of that nature. See, I remember when Cornell Whitaker was a very young fighter in the pros and he moved around the ring a lot.
Mm,
And people were like, man, he's very elusive and everything, but his footwork is pretty good and his foot speed is pretty good. But then even when he began to set down on shots and box, he still utilized footwork, but in a different manner. He didn't have to move along with that little trot and jog around the ring as
mm.
much as he did in his youthful days, but he learned how to step to the side and give angles and things like that. And when a guy has good, fast twitch muscles, and Xander obviously has that, it can be utilized to make a big, lumbering guy look bad.
Yeah, yeah, and okay, Kano saying I do know he can beat Fundora and Virgil, but not Conwell. You wait a minute, Kano. Now wait. You think Xander Zayas can beat Virgil as well, huh? Okay.
Yeah, I can't see the chat right now because I'm on the phone. But
Yes, yes, yes. I'm,
yeah,
I'm
but I
reading.
that's why I say I know Connell was out there. I didn't know that KG was out there too. Salute
Oh
to
yeah.
KG. But no, but see these things, remember, I give you aspects of what a fighter's gifts are, their strengths and everything, and the exploit of the weakness that can hinder one guy. And I said, because I don't know a lot about Xander's character, I've
Mm.
only seen him in his performances. If I have more to draw on about his character, that would make me be even more solid in what I think about him. But I remember, I will not say what I don't know. So,
Right, right, right. And to me, to be honest, Stormy, a lot of these guys we're not really seeing so much of their character, and I'm not really bothered by that. Show me what you could do when you come in the ring, because sometimes we get to see some of these people's character, and it's very unsavory. And to me, for me personally, I know not for you, it does kind of form an opinion of whether or not I even want to see these people. Sometimes, you know what I mean? Yeah, I want to see the fights, but if you got a horrible character, eh, I don't know. That's just how I am personally. Um, let's see. He says, "Okay, I read that one.
give me a minute. I just got to
Yeah,
mute my mic for a moment, okay?
that's fine. That's fine." So when he got on, we were talking about Joseph Parker and Usyk, right? So the WBO, this is from a week ago. The WBO had mandated that Alexander Usyk must defend his title against the interim champion Joseph Parker. Again, when Stormy came on, I was saying I personally feel like Usyk should fight Dubois next. Dubois deserves that. There's people that are pissed off because Dubois uh, fell sick for whatever that's worth. However, I'm gonna turn that right. Some people are calling it a duck. I don't think it was a duck. I don't see Daniel Dubois as a duck, but they're feeling like he skipped out on the fight. Parker ended up fighting Bacoli, and that he deserves this shot like right now. So the question is, will Usyk drop that WBO, or will he go ahead and fight Parker first, and then come back? I know we know Daniel wants them belts. Obviously, they both want the belts, right? So let me see. Who is this? So that's the WBO. Alexander Usyk. Which he dropped? Okay, it's the yeah, because it's the IBF that he had dropped right after that fight with Fury. Daniel Dubois has the IBF. Shoot, if he fights Daniel Dubois next, and Daniel Dubois can get that win, we would have a new heavyweight undisputed, which I would like to see it. I would like that for Daniel, man. Um, Shout out to my good brother Aunt McQueen sneaking up in here. Hey Aunt, how you doing? How you doing, Aunt? Let me see what McConnell was saying. I've been around Xander in person a lot. I can definitely speak on YouTube. I'm gonna assume that means YouTube. Okay. Yeah, and then to go back here, I agree. I agree, Mark. He impressed me too. And in that same breath, Madrimov disappointed me. I was like, dang. And then for him to come out the next day talking about he was sick, no, 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 no. You did what you did, right? I think WBO will give him an extension, and Usyk fights Dubois again. So, Mark, in saying that, do you think you're saying an extension? Does that mean that the other belts won't be on the line? Is that what you think? The other belts won't be on the line if he gets this extension, and that they'll actually put them on the line for Parker? I wouldn't like that. I wouldn't like that. I mean, I know it's weird, and I know a lot of people are split about it, but Hen Dog, salute to you, King. Thanks for coming in. Um, yeah, I'm not really crazy about an extension because either way, somebody gets the fight, but they're not getting a shot at them titles. So okay, there goes Stormy, and he's back if he so chooses to.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. Sorry about that.
They will be. They won't strip Usyk yet because the Dubois fight will be bigger. I think so too. But clearly, if WBO is mandating, they trying to give it to Parker, man. They trying to give it to Parker. Okay, so I know you're at work. I kind of double, triple, quadruple back to what we started talking about, and I was reading that the WBO had officially mandated that Usyk defend his titles against Parker, and I said basically that I wonder if Usyk would be willing to just drop that WBO since he already had dropped the IBF. I don't feel like it would be fair for Daniel because surely Daniel wants to fight for the other three belts, to be undisputed. It's just I don't know. It seems a little messy. Can you hear me, Stormy? Stormy may be a little tied up. So yeah, not really. I don't know how to feel about that. To be honest, you guys, I not really happy about that. Anyway, going forward, I honestly don't know that I have any more news. Let me see. Frank Warren. Hey, hey, man. Yeah. You think? You think? You think? Yeah. Wait a minute. Who does Parker fight for? Hearn. Stormy, if you're saying something, I can't hear you. I hear a little bit of noise, a little scratching. Sebastian Fundora, Xander Zaya is officially ordered. I that's what I read too, Kano. That's what I read too. But and what I was saying is that Samson Lukowitz doesn't want that. He wants Mert Sataliev. He feels like Xander's too green and does not deserve a shot. So I guess what we're going to be seeing is this next for sure. Possibly because I also said it has 20 days to go through negotiations before it goes to a purse bid. We'll see how that all shakes out. Oddly enough, yeah, Samson might be like a Frank and he get what he want, right? We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. See, I'd like to see Usyk Dubois too. Me too. Parker Usyk will be boring because of their styles will clash. Um, I think Usyk could still make that fight an interesting fight, to be honest. And we cannot negate that Parker has just been looking good his past 3 4 fights. So I think it would be a good fight. I think Usyk Dubois would be better now that now that Dubois has his confidence built up with his last 3 4 fights. Again, some pretty dang tough fights. Man, I still picked Usyk Dubois, but yeah, I said my reasoning because Usyk said that he'd do that with that man. Oh, yeah, hen dog. They mandated it. We'll see what happens with that. Look, I'm reading that WBO mandated Usyk versus Parker. We gonna see what happens with all this. Parker is under. Ooh, Eee. Hey, that's nasty. Talk about inside fighting. That's nasty. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I think Stormy's out for sure. I don't think I have any more news. I mean, there are other stories out here. There's so much going on right now, which is actually a good thing. Um, so long as it's not drama. 'Cause, I don't like drama. I like boxing in itself is enough drama for me. Just give me the fights. I don't need all um, that extraness. And he's back.
Yeah, my connection is not good right now for some reason. It does this to me. That's one of the reasons why when I'm where I am, I don't like to try, but I be trying to support, you know?
Oh, well, this is the first time I believe I've had you up here, and I am very appreciative of the conversation. Um, I thank you. I get it.
Yeah.
And you're at work. So, look, usually I'll be
Yeah.
forcing at people to be at work trying to be on the phone.
Yeah, I know. But listen, I'll fall back into the chat. I just wanted to say thanks, for having me on. I just want to show you a little love and support. And like I said, I shared your live to my page. So,
I
you know,
appreciate that
so
very much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
yeah, thanks
And
for having me. And like I
feel
said,
free to
I'll
put
I'll
your
just fall back in the chat.
feel free to put your link in the chat too, Sensei. It's fine. All of
Okay.
you guys, I always tell you guys all that. Thanks for coming on. It's good to have you. I'm gonna have you up here again, of course.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Take
Okay.
care.
You
All right.
too. Bye. So yeah, I'm picking Dubois. I'm picking Dubois this second time around because technically, yeah, he beat him the first time. I can't remember where I was the other day, and somebody said that oh, it was in Dub Right Size channel. Look, I'm about to spill the beans. It was in Dub Right Size channel. It was that sports talk, boxing talk, whatever. I think he's Australian. He be on BFTB's page all the time, dude. Let me tell you something. You're goofy. That belt, I mean that was a clear hit, and it was on the belt line. It was a legit hit. I don't know what to tell people. We know BS be happening. And to be honest, that whole reaction, we knew that night. We can go back and look at that. It was contrived. I re- I respect Usyk, but dude, you're an actor, and you're a horrible actor. Nobody's balls are on their stomach. So Dubois again. Yeah, I think it'll just be legit. Surely he ain't going to no goddamn Poland again. I would pray not. Fedora might fight a title eliminator. You think so, Hen Dog? I think that they would try to make this next fight next. Who do you think that would be against? Fedora fighting a title eliminator. It's a super. Oof. Hello. Mm. Because he has WBC, he has WBO. Again, he could fight Bakram next outright for that IBF title. That would put him with 3 belts. We know Bud is going to or did already drop that WBA. So maybe that one. Is that what you're talking about? Oh, he fight one of his Mandos. Okay, yeah. So I talked about that as well. Surrey Boachuk. That's one I want to see. But see, the WBC has Xander also as number 2 for WBC, and then Charles Conwell. Again, I just find it really funny how they just inserted Xander over Charles. Because WBO, he is the Xander would be the mandatory. So I don't know. We'll see how that all pans out. What are you laughing at, Aunt? Let me put you in timeout. um, that guy that stopped Tim Zoo. Oh yeah, Murtataliev. He's the one who holds the IBF. He's the one who Fundora's promoter wants. And thank you to Queen Karma, because I did. I totally forgot about that. Murtataliev said he does not want to fight anyone without a belt because, and that, yeah, now it's all coming back to me, because Charles Conwell said he will fight him. To me, that says something. And again, I did say this earlier too. I did a breakdown a while back on Murtataliev, and I think it was who were we just talking about that fought Virgil Madrimov and Murtataliev. Yeah, because I was responding to Nick J saying she thought Murtataliev got it right. Um, Somebody like Charles Conwell, he could easily beat Murtataliev. When I went back and looked at his film, and obviously this is something that Tim didn't do and Tim does not do. I'm still curious what Tim Zoo's gonna look like coming back fighting Joey Spencer after these 2 losses, especially that last one to Murtataliev, because he looks so shell shocked. Dude look like he's got PTSD. But somebody who gets up in Murtataliev's face, like, he doesn't do good with that. He doesn't do good with somebody who will fight him back, um, and push him back. Like, he's not good on the back foot, and not to say that this man couldn't have learned this since this fight in particular I'm speaking of. And actually I've seen a couple of times where guys push him, they get up in his face. He doesn't respond well to that. So, and we know Tim Zoo doesn't really fight like that. He's more measured in his pace of his fights. He's just not an up in your face type dude. At some point, I see Charlo. And Conwell for all the marbles at 54. We talked about that, Michael Ray. Where's Mel at, Michael? Somebody please. Where's Jamel? Dude is missing. And people is tired of waiting on Jamel. Like I told Stormy, I'm more of a Jamal fan than I am Jamel. Don't get me wrong, I like Mel, and I think Mel is a dog. We ain't even gonna count the whole Canelo thing. Yes, Jamel is that dude. But where is he? He was supposed to have been returned 2, 3 times by now. So um I don't know. I don't know, Michael. We're gonna have to throw somebody else up in that mix, man. He said he was back before though. He said he was back before. We're gonna have to throw somebody else up in that mix. And to be honest, until I see Jamel actually come back, I don't even wanna I don't even want to say his name like that. I know that sounds messed up. But um yeah. So anyway, I think that's probably about it for me. Uh yeah, I've been on for an hour and a half. I appreciate you all stopping by. I thank you for hanging out with me for a little bit. I'm feeling a little bit better, so hopefully I could get some videos up about the fights that are coming up on April 5th. There's a lot of fights happening in the beginning of April. Um, good ass fights. So looking forward to that again this weekend. Mayor versus Ryan Part 2, and then on that undercard is a Brian Norman Jr. versus Cuevas. And both of those fights are for the WBO welter title. Mayor and Brian are defending their titles. Definitely looking forward to that fight. Also, Tevin Farmer versus Zepeda 2. Blessings to you too, GD. Thank you for coming in. I'm glad you found me. Um, yeah, so look forward to those fights this weekend. There's a whole bunch of more fights too, but these are the main ones, obviously, that most of us will probably be watching. Some of these other ones, I didn't even see that they're actually listed as being televised. Because again, DHP has fighters fighting this weekend. Again, if I find that it is televised on Triller, on Boxer, somewhere, I will put it in my community tab because it's Kevin Newman and Shamar Canal, which I do. I do like both of them, and they are Devin Haney fighters. I like Devin Haney's little guys he got going on over there. They can fight. So thank you guys. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you all so very much. And blessings and shalom to you all. Peace.